Hello my strange and charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. Today is Sunday, March 1st, and I have decided that I am going to continue my Plan Like an Entrepreneur series. I think I'm going to be doing this for, the foreseeable future. On Sundays, I'm going to put a Plan with Me style video, this Plan with an Entrepreneur series that I've started, where I show you how I'm planning for the week and the month ahead. As well as answer your questions from previous videos. So since today is a Sunday and also the beginning of the month, we actually have a little bit more planning that you're going to actually get to see me do that I would do normally at the beginning of a month, which is really great, so that you get to see how I plan not just for my week and my days ahead. I also have a process for what I do to manage and consolidate projects on a monthly basis. So you're going to be able to see that today. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to answer some of your questions. And one of the questions that I thought that had been asked a few times by many of you who'd seen the first video, a lot of you wanted to know my story as an entrepreneur and the advice that I would give to my past self, or I guess really extrapolating that, the advice I would give to anyone starting out now. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start with the planning portion of this video, and then we're going to come back and do the Q&A. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all the planners that I'm currently using for one purpose or another here in front of me. One thing I wanted to say before I started this, I did get a question about, how many planners do you need to use? How many do I recommend? Like, is there a reason that I use like 3 or 4 of them? And to be completely honest, there is no rhyme or reason for how many planners you really need to have. It's completely up to you. As you will see as we go through this video, I'm actually using different planners for different purposes. My everyday planner that kind of houses the overview of all of my projects and things like that is this Franklin Covey binder. But I also have this personal size domino in turquoise that I've actually started using. This is a recent development that I've started using this in order to take notes. Almost like, the best way I can say it is like bullet journal style notes in here for client work that I'm doing. So this is literally dedicated to client work, which is what makes it a little bit different, because instead of using a notebook, I decided I wanted to use a planner. It was a really good way for me to track my billable hours and the things that I've done for my clients. So that is why I'm using this. So I'm going to put this to the side because we are not going to be in this right now, but I did want to show it to you for the purposes that is what I use that for. So I'm going to put that aside. Okay, 2 more binders that I do use on a regular basis. You guys may already be acquainted with my A5 Fluoro Pink Original. This is used as a filing system, so it's not even really used as a Filofax planner. It's a filing system for me with my 43 folders system that was introduced to me through David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. So this is a filing system that I use. All my paperwork as I get it and I need to file through it goes in here. So we are going to be in this today. And another book that I do not think we're going to actually be in, but I did want to show you, is this A5 Domino, which is also new and has been turned into my business binder. So because I run a business and I do have to take care of a lot of different things pertaining to the business, I need to track expenses, I need to track projects and income and tax things. So this is going to be this is my business binder. It's not 100% set up. And I will probably let you guys see in this in a later video, but this guy's actually just going to be off to the side because I actually have some notes in here for this video so that we can get started. So really the main 2 planners in the system are these 2, the personal and the A5. They've always been that way. So hope that stems any questions for you guys. You can use binders for whatever you want. But what I would say my 2 planners are, I would say this is actually my planner, and then this is the planner that I use to be organizing information and documents and things like that. So I hope that answers that for you guys. Okay, so the first place we're going to start in my day-to-day binder is my month on one page calendar that's inside of like my project planning, yearly planning section in my main planner. So I actually keep a list of tasks for the month that I need to get done. that pertain to projects or things that are timely for the month. So what I do here is, since we're starting March, I've got my March page out, and usually when I'm working with these pages, I do like to take them out. Just makes it easier for me to write. And what I'm also going to do is go ahead and pull out the previous months. You can see these are back to front, because what I'm going to do is I need to move over anything from my February list that needs to now be done in March. So I'm going to go ahead and just write in some things. Okay, so I've moved over a few things, and what I'm going to do is actually put this away to actually file, so that I don't need to keep old pages in my planner. So what I'm going to do next is refer to my here at a glance project planning sheet to see if there's anything else task-wise that I need to do for this month. And if you guys have ever seen my project planning bundle, this is all part of that project planning bundle. So I'm looking at my projects that I have planned out, and I'm going to write some items in on here that belong on this month now. Okay, so that is it for the items that I have on my project pages. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put this page back in. I'll put my page marker back on it that I'm using, just so I can find it quickly when I need to. And the next thing we're going to do is move on over to my month on 2 pages. Again, for my month on 2 pages, I'm going to be pulling everything out so I can write easily. I'll just put that aside. Okay, so my month on 2 pages has a very specific use. My month on 2 pages is where I do my editorial calendar for my blog and YouTube and all that jazz. So here I like to actually write with a color coding system that you guys may have seen these pens last time. These are my friction pens that I use for color coding in my editorial calendar. So as you can see right now, I actually have a bunch of little page flag sort of things, little sticky notes that are in the boxes for the month, and those are for features that I have that kind of reoccur in my blog. So some people do reoccurring features on a weekly basis. I like to do them on a monthly basis. So I'm actually going to use this as a basis for me to actually fill in my editorial calendar. It kind of is like a cheat sheet. I don't always stick to this, but it's good for me to have. And also I'm going to go ahead and flip actually in my planner as well to my blog section so that I can look at the blog post concepts that I had. I usually keep a list in here, for some blog post ideas. So I will work off of those as I need to. Okay, so as you can see, that took me quite a bit of time to do. Usually this is something that kind of takes me a while to sort of plan out my videos and my blog posts. So of course I've sped that up for you guys so that you guys didn't have to watch the whole thing, but I think you can get a sense of, I do kind of have to check multiple different lists and things like that as I go. I do have some notes on my computer as well as in my planners for different, blog posts and video ideas, and, I have to check timing against other things that I'm working on. So now I've got my editorial calendar done. The other thing that I do here on my month on 2 pages is I like to write in my monthly goals. So what I have is I like to do a top 3 goals of things that I want to make sure are done during the month. Okay, so I just wrote in 3 goals there for myself. And another thing that I usually do is I do like to track a feature that I have called What's on My iPhone. So I'm going to make some notes on that. Okay, so I just track those categories for the What's on My iPhone, which is my digital favorites. Just down the side, I just kind of write the topics, and then as I find things that I like to fill them in here. I used to put my favorites here as well, and I could, I'll make a little I'll also do a thing for my favorites. I just don't do favorites very often, and I'm thinking about doing them on a quarterly basis. So either at the end of March or the beginning of April, I'll probably do a favorites video for the first quarter of the year. So that's good for me to track my favorites here as well. So that is what that's what I do on my month on 2 pages. I'm going to go ahead and put this back. Okay, so I've got those back on here. I put them in any order, and like you saw, I switched things around as I was doing my March editorial calendar, so it's not uncommon for me to move things around. Okay, so the next section in my planner that I will work on is my week on 1 page. And this is where I kind of give myself an overview of the things I've got going on for the week. Now, the first thing that I have here is my little meal planning card just for my dinners. I already did my meal planning for the week, so I'm not going to bother going into my meal planning section. You guys saw me do that last week. But I do need to transfer over my dinners so I have them in my week. It just helps to keep me organized. So I do have a list of what we're eating this week. Okay, so I've got my dinners here, and I'll just put those back into my planner. And now I just need to work on organizing my tasks for the week and any things that I have scheduled. So the first thing I like to do is my tasks. And I need to put in my to-do task. So I have to pay my rent this weekend probably, so I'll put it in here. Or actually, what do I have on Monday? I feel like I have something coming up. What do I have coming up? Okay, so I do have something. I have a call on Monday the 2nd. Okay, so those are my events and tasks for the week. I usually leave my notes section open because I'll normally write things down in there when I have something that comes up. And I'll probably, throughout the week, I'll probably add some stickers and things like that. But this isn't a decorating video, so I'm not going to bother with that right now. So that is my week on 1 page for this week coming up. Okay, so we're actually going to move out of this binder now, and we're going to move into my A5 Fluoro Pink. Because we're going to go ahead and move on over into the current month in my 43 folders system, which you guys have already seen this. I don't have anything in my inbox, which is good. I have a few things in my outbox, which usually my outbox is just like stuff I need to file, so I just like to store things there. And as you can see, we're in February right now, but I need to take out February and the pages and bring March forward. And then I'll put the pages in after March for each, the days of the month. Flip all the way to the back, and I move February to the back. But what I'm going to do is take out all the paperwork that was still in February's for things that haven't been done. Go right back to March. Okay. So for March, I have my little journaling card that I need to update really quickly in here. I just kind of keep my little journaling card right here. I think it looks nice right here in the front of my planner. So I just have those, and I'll switch this out. These journaling cards are available in my shop. They're a printable journaling card that you can use. And I just like to keep them there to have like a cute little, I just think it looks cute in the front of my planner. So I will take this, and I will also put that in my outbox. Okay. So, this week I submitted for my renewal for my license, and it hasn't come in yet. So I just want to keep that paperwork in here just in case. I did not write the thank you note I was supposed to write, so I need to make sure that I do that. So I'm going to leave that in here. I also have a few tasks that I sort of do every month. I do like a review, so I'm going to go ahead and I will actually probably do these today. What do I have? Health things in here. Okay. And this is, okay, so this is going to go in my outbox real quick. Okay. So these things can all go to my outbox. I think they were just things I was just keeping so I didn't forget about them for taxes and for other things. So I'm just going to put those in the outbox because they don't need to be in here. And then, like I said, I've got some to-dos that I do at the beginning of the month. Basically some social media reviews that I'm actually going to do today. So I'll do those later today. So what I'll do is I'll take these and I'll put them in here. So something that I also always keep right in the front of my planner is this brain dump exercise. It's called Powerfully Organized. It's basically these instructions for downloading the RAM in your brain. I keep that in the beginning of my the month so that I can remember to do this every month. So I will do this today, as well as these little social media reviews. And I should probably remake these. I'm thinking I should actually make these into like a reusable list pad. Actually, that's a really good idea. Why did I not think of that before? So let me quickly, see, this is what I'll do. I'll think of something and put it in. And this is why I keep all of these little goodies in the front, just things to keep me organized. And I will put this there so that I actually later today when I go to do this, I will make that laminated reusable list for my social media things. So that is good. There's nothing else in here that I think belongs on a certain day. Actually, let me just move this to here, the thank you note, so I remember to do it. But yeah, that's everything that's in my filing cabinet for right now. So I can go ahead and put this guy away. Okay, so that was all the planning that I do at the beginning of a new month to prepare for the month ahead as well as my week ahead. Because obviously I do these sort of weekly reviews every week, so I don't actually have to fill out like a full month of my tasks on my week on one page, but I do like to get those monthly big ticket items into the places that they belong, which is really good. That helps to keep me on track. So now for the second part of this video is a little bit of a Q&A. And like I said at the beginning of the video, today I'm going to talk to you guys about my entrepreneurship story. I know that I've gotten a lot of questions about this, so I hope that it's helpful for you. And I hope there's some takeaways. And then of course, I'm also going to answer the question of what advice I would give to myself or my past self. And I know that that pretty much extrapolates to like what advice I would give to anyone who's just starting out now. Okay, so I did take a lot of notes. I actually have my business binder out in front of me. So forgive me if I'm looking down. I did take some notes for how I wanted to lay this out for you guys. So we're basically going to start with college, right? Okay, so I graduated from college early in December of 2007 with a double major in art history and political science. At the time, I had planned to get my master's in art business from Sotheby's in New York. Throughout college, I had been back and forth on whether or not I wanted to be a lawyer or if I wanted to get into the art world. And because those were basically like my two passions, I had political science and art history. So I had done a lot of soul searching, and I decided that I was going to go with a master's in art business from Sotheby's. If you guys aren't familiar, Sotheby's is a very influential auction house. They're very big into art, real estate, everything. Sotheby's, you may also be familiar with Christie's. They have a similar program, but it's basically a master's program to basically prepare you to deal in the art world, either as a appraiser or someone who's selling these things, a gallery owner. And really what I wanted to do at the time was to actually work for Sotheby's and like go around and like see all the the art that people were going to be selling and help appraise them and put together the catalogs and listings and things like that. So that was what I wanted to do at the time. I got in to Sotheby's, and I even got a partial scholarship because it's not a traditional program, and it didn't fall under the categories of normal colleges and universities in the US, because although it was called a master's in art business, it wasn't, it was actually accredited through a university in London. It wasn't like a US accreditation. So while it was a master's in the art world, it wasn't like a traditional advanced graduate degree. So because of that, when the banks failed in the early spring, because I had applied for loans because my scholarship was only a partial scholarship, and the banks failed in 2008 in the spring, if you guys can recall that time, very hectic in the US. I basically was denied for all of my loans. So I was not able to go to school. And because this wasn't a normal university, and a normal program, it wasn't something that was sort of protected under like US government for education, so, and for higher education. So I basically was like out of the game. I wasn't going to get my master's. So about that time, when all of that went down, I started my first blog because I was always very tech savvy and very into the online world and the online culture. So I started a blog because that's what people had at the time, and I started my blog on Blogspot, which was a very popular platform at the time, and it's still a very popular platform. But at that time, Blogspot was where everybody had their blogs. So that was where I decided to start my blog. During that time, I ended up getting temp work, like full-time temp work. So I was working, but I did not get a full-time job until December, January of the following year. So I think I was hired in December of 2008 at the Fortune 50 company that I worked for 5+ years. And I actually started in January because they had like a whole bunch of holdups with my paper. But I did start in January full-time with a Fortune 50 company, doing nothing that I had thought I would do. But I was still happy nonetheless to be working, to have benefits, and to be working for such a prestigious company. So I was really felt like I was lucky because at the time, a lot of other people that I went to school with and a lot of other people I knew didn't have jobs. So I took that job and I was like, okay, this is fine. This is fine for now. And I knew it wasn't going to be like my permanent career, but I thought, you know, it's doing what it needs to do now for me, so I will stick to that and do my best. So over the next 5+ years, I was blogging and doing YouTube. So this had been something for most of those 5 years. It had been something that I did as an outlet for creativity because I always thought to myself that I didn't know what it was that I wanted to do. But I loved writing, so I loved blogging, and I really liked making YouTube videos, so I just continued doing both of those things. Now, in about 2013 was when I really started getting serious about blogging. I think at that point, I really had a vision because I realized that a lot of people really were making money and making like full-time incomes and nice incomes from their blogs and their YouTube channels. So I really decided that I was going to step up my blog at that time and invest in myself because this was what I wanted to do. Whether or not it was earning me a full-time income yet, it didn't matter. I knew at that moment, once I decided that that's what I wanted to do, what I wanted to pursue, I stepped up my blog. I moved it from Blogspot to WordPress, and I really developed and stuck to an editorial calendar and what worked for me. And I was very dedicated to that because I realized that that's what I wanted to do. And I think that's a really important takeaway of this story, and we'll talk more about this later. But once I knew what I wanted, I decided I was going to do it, and I was going to do it 100%. Now, by 2014, things really started clicking in my mind. And there really is nothing that I can say about this beyond the fact that I consider this some sort of divine inspiration, okay, and intervention. I really am a believer, I'm very spiritual, and I really am a believer that the universe will guide you as long as you are putting yourself out there and doing what you can. You can't sit at home all day and do nothing and, you know, expect the universe to hand you your dream career and your dream job and your dream business. But I do believe that if you are putting yourself out there and actively researching and actively doing something that you love, it's important that it's something that you love. I do think that things just start clicking because there's no other way that I can explain that. It really felt like in 2014, by that time, and especially in the beginning of the year, it just felt like dominoes were falling in my favor. Like everything was stacking up for me to go full-time with my business. So in the spring of 2014, I did it. I made the leap. I left my job and I went full-time for myself. And at that time, when I left, I was making what I consider a part-time income. Although I was doing, like I joke about it, I was doing like the work of 2 to 3 jobs, but I was making half of what one income would be. But it didn't matter to me because I knew I was doing what I wanted to do, and I had certain fail-safes in place. So if you guys don't know, I am married. My husband has a very good job. We didn't have to worry about money when I left my job. If I left my job and I ended up failing, my husband made enough of an income for us to have everything be okay. Obviously, I couldn't like go out and spend and buy bags all the time and buy new planners every day, but we were going to be okay if I kind of took that leap and failed. We also had we have a substantial savings, and we haven't had to touch that, which is really, really good. That was sort of our fail safe, that we wanted to make sure that we had enough money in the bank that if both of us lost our jobs for like 6 months to a year, that we would be okay. And we did have that money in the bank, and thank goodness we didn't have to use it. Mike's still working for the same company. Like there was no problems there. And obviously, if you guys have been following along with me, you know that my business has been growing to the point of, at this point, I have a full-time income. So going back to my story chronologically. So in the spring I left, in the fall I started my shop. And when I started my shop, that's really when things started to click. And this is one of those things, like, again, I just consider it some sort of divine inspiration, that things were just starting to happen in my favor. I was just putting myself out there, doing what I could do, and the universe seemed to be guiding me to where I needed to go. So I started my shop in the fall, and ever since then, by the end of the year, I have been bringing in a full-time income from that. So I get a lot of questions. I have my blog, I've got YouTube, I do consulting, and I run a shop. So I've got all those 4 areas of income, as well as like affiliate income and things like that that also bring in money for me. And through all of those different channels, I have a full-time income now, which is really, really awesome. And it really, all those sorts of pillars make up my business. Okay, so that brings us to today, present day. And like I said, one of the questions that I had been asked was what advice would I give to my former self? And to be completely honest with you guys, there is nothing I would have told my former self except for invest in Apple stock, okay? Obviously that's a joke, but no, seriously, I wish I could turn back the time and invest in Apple. Obviously I didn't do that, you know, hindsight is 20/20 always. But really there is nothing that I would really tell my former self. I really think that everything that happened, I really think that it was a natural progression for me. And one of the big reasons I say that is because things have really worked out for me at this point. There really is no reason for me to say that I would go back and change this, that, or the other thing. You know, I could sit here and, you know, lament about the fact that back in 2008 when I started my blog, I was friends with and regularly like chatting it up in the comments with some bloggers who are absolutely like top-notch bloggers now. And that always kind of makes me think back like, oh, if I had been more serious about blogging in 2008 as opposed to when I got really serious in 2013, like where could I be now? But you know, there's really no reason to get caught up in that. Everything that I think happened for me in my life, everything's worked out. I'm in a really good place. Like I can't complain about where I am. I'm incredibly grateful. So there's nothing I would say to my former self. But if I was talking to you and you're someone right now who has maybe just started a business, or you're thinking about starting a business, or you've started a business and maybe you're having some trouble, I do have a few little pieces of advice that I hope will help you. Number one, I would tell you to give yourself time to think and grow. Like I said, my business was basically built over 5 years part-time. And I feel like that time really gave me a lot of opportunity to think and grow about what I really wanted. I think a lot of times people get like an idea in their head and they think, oh, this is a really great idea, and they start getting to work on it. But it doesn't pan out, and it was because you didn't give it enough time to settle and really decide if it was the right thing to do. Now, I'm not saying that if you have an idea that you think is good that you shouldn't pursue it, but I just want to make sure that you're not rushing into things, because you can get yourself into trouble rushing in too soon. I know a lot of business people would say, you know, if you have an idea, just jump in and get started. And I agree with that. But I think you need to make sure that you fleshed out this idea first. And I'm hoping that this is something that I'll talk about in future videos as well. Kind of knowing what the point is and realizing when you've done enough of the pre-work and the brainstorming to say, okay, this is a solid idea, I'm going to go with it. But definitely give yourself time to think and grow, because what you want to do may change. It definitely changed for me. I had no clue 5 years ago, starting out blogging, that I would be blogging about planners 5 years later. Although looking back, it makes sense because I was that type of person. But, you know, this was a whole new community, the File of Hacks community that I came across. So it was nothing that I would have expected. My second piece of advice would be to start small and to do things right piece by piece. I think a lot of times when people have businesses or start with an idea, they think they need to make a really big splash. And I think that that's not necessarily true. I think that making small progress and building bit by bit is a really sound business strategy. I don't think that you need to jump in and have everything. You don't need to jump in with your business and have the shop and the blog and the YouTube channel and the social media and, you know, do ads on other people's site and, you know, write external articles for external sites and blogs and things like that. You don't have to do it all at once. But what I would say is to start with some important pieces or pieces that you are drawn to and do those things right from day one. An example I'll give of my own life was like when I said I started my blog with Blogspot, which at the time was what people told you to do. And then as soon as I got serious with my blog, I moved it to WordPress. If you right now are thinking I'm going to start a business and my business is going to need a blog, or you just want to start a blog as your business and you know you want to make money from it, invest right now and move to WordPress. Like, do it right now. Start your blog in WordPress or immediately move your blog over to WordPress. It's going to cost you money, yes, but there's no way you're going to build your business. And you're not going to build it solidly if you're not willing to invest in yourself, right? So a lot of times these free tools like Blogspot, they can be great for getting started. I'm not going to bash Blogspot. It definitely got me my start. But I think sometimes when you don't pay for things, you don't take it seriously. So I would say immediately start doing things right. So start your blog on WordPress right now. And I know I say WordPress and there's other things out there like Squarespace that other people are also liking, but I still am a proponent of WordPress for some very good reasons. So, you know, do the research for what you're doing and see what works for you, but you need to invest and you need to put those things together piece by piece. So if you're going to set up a shop, don't just throw something up overnight. Try to think methodically about your products and sort of think about the marketing that you're going to put into those products, because you don't want to just start something and have it done half-assed. You know, that's basically what I'm saying to you, because that will it could end up hurting you, is what I'm trying to say. So do those small things piece by piece and step by step and do them right from the start. Another thing I would tell anybody who's getting started right now is if you have questions about what you think your strengths are, what you think you need to do, you really need to talk to people who know you. So talk to your friends and your family and see what people think your strengths are. For a really long time, and this is another anecdote of mine, but in college, I had a friend who was actually my little in my sorority who always told me, Alexis, when you graduate, you're going to have your own business and work from home. And at the time I was like, nah, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be a lawyer or work in art business. I'm not going to be running a business from my home. Like, no, that's not for me. But what I didn't realize was that people who knew me, who were close to me, saw that spirit inside of me before I even saw it. So ask your friends, ask your family what it is that you think you do the best, what they see you doing, because you may have some idea of what you love and you definitely need to follow your passions. But if your family is telling you your strength is in consulting, then, and helping people, then you may want to go into consulting. If your friends and family say you're really creative and you come up with great ideas, maybe that's something that you can turn into a business. If your friends and family say that you execute really well, like you've got really good design skills or you make really nice products, you're very methodical, like if you do DIYs and things like that and you want to start an Etsy shop, ask your friends and family what it is that you do well, because that can guide you. Like, let your passion guide you, and then let what other people believe is your strengths, have that kind of frame what you're doing, because sometimes it's hard to see it in yourself. And obviously, if your friends and family are telling you all different things, or you're not really believing what people are telling you, do it your own way. I'm not saying you have to listen to what other people are telling you to do, but I think that a lot of times the people that know us best can identify things inside of us that we sometimes can't see. My last piece of advice for any budding entrepreneur, and I know this advice isn't going to sound like the best, but this isn't for everyone, right? Starting a business, being an entrepreneur, delving into the world of online entrepreneurship, online business, things like that, it's not for everyone. I know right now it's very cool. Like, it definitely is very cool. It has a lot of appeal. If you are looking at me and seeing my success and seeing other Etsy store owners and things like that, and shop owners and things like that within the planner community, thinking, well, I could do that. Yes, it's very tempting to say I can do what that person is doing, but it's not necessarily about can you do it. It's more of, do you really have the skills to do it and do it right? Because a lot of times I think a lot of people are jumping into this new like online planner community and trying to make and sell things. And, you know, yes, you have some skills. You can create inserts, or you can create paper clips, or, you know, you can create dividers and things like that, or you can do other things, you know, maybe not even planner related, do other crafts and DIY things. And maybe you know, it's a hobby that you really enjoy, but it takes a lot to keep it up. And not everybody is cut out for it. Now, if what you're thinking is, you know, you feel like you're very entrepreneurial and that you want to be someone who kind of has that manifest destiny spirit, you can still do that in a regular 9-to-5 job. Maybe not the one that you're currently at, but you may be able to find yourself a job that gives you a little bit more flexibility. If what you like about my situation is that I work from home, there are plenty of jobs that let you work from home. You don't have to run your own business. Running your own business is hard, and it's not everybody's not cut out for it. And you know, I seem to be doing well. And you know, I'll say that I do think that I'm doing well, and I do think that I have a lot of skills that go along with that. So, you know, if you want this, make sure you really want it before you get started, because you could get in over your head. I think that if you want to try it, definitely try it as a side hustle, and I'm going to make that a subject of a future video, how to start a business as a side hustle, to test it out, see if that's what you really want to do. But, you know, it's not for everybody. It is a lot of hard work. You know, I just did my taxes for 2014, and there was a lot of stuff there that, you know, it's just, starting a business involves a lot, and you realize sort of the gravity of that as you go along. So I just want to make sure, you know, everyone's not getting caught up in the fad. If it's for you, that's wonderful, and you will do well if your heart is in it and you do things methodically. But I just want to make sure that you guys understand that you don't have to have your own business in order to like achieve some sense of happiness, or to work from home, or to have a lot of freedom with your work. There are a lot of opportunities within the business world as well, you know, with companies, even the Fortune 50 company that I worked for, where you can take on your own projects and kind of spearhead your own initiatives. It's not something that everyone gets to do every day, but it's definitely things that are built into certain corporate lifestyles. So you don't have to have your own business in order to be in control of your work if that's what you're looking for. You don't have to have your own business to work from home. There are reasons that people would want to do one or the other, obviously, but they don't have to involve, you know, getting involved with creating a business if it's not something that really suits you and your personality and the way that you work. Okay, so that was my Q&A for today. And I believe that next week I'm gonna have my Q&A pertain to getting started with blogging and YouTube. So leave your comments down below for any questions you have for getting started in YouTube and blogging, or any like little, you know, one-off questions that you have as well can go down in the comments, and I will check this feed. Obviously throughout the week I check my feed, but before I go ahead and film that video next Sunday, I will make sure to look at your questions so that I'm referencing as much as I can for you guys. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more awesome videos by me. And please, if you did like this video, I've got a link on the top of my description box. The first link, if you wouldn't mind giving that a click and checking it out, I would be very, very appreciative of that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.